Good morning and welcome to Avero's live stream. This week, we have a very special guest all the way from down under, from Brisbane, Judith O'Callaghan, who I will introduce here very shortly. But just some housekeeping. If you are joining us from around the world, pop into the chat, tell us where you're calling from, chatting from, joining from. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat box and we'll answer them as we go along the live stream. Um, but I'm really excited to welcome Judith to the show. I've heard so much about you. I've seen so much of your content and your work that I'm inspired by the work that you're doing, and I really want to bring this to our audience. So, Judith, welcome to the show, and why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Oh, thank you very much, Avi, and thanks for the wonderful introduction
Mhm.
and the opportunity to be here with you. So, I am Judith O'Callaghan. I'm one of the program directors here, and I'm a ERP thought leader. ERP has been my passion for over 2 decades.
Wow,
Uh, so, it is wonderful to be in that space and share and learn.
excellent. And so, tell us about where you got started in this business because no one grows up wanting to be an ERP consultant. I don't think so, right? I didn't, and I know we grew up somewhat
Yeah.
similarly in the world. So tell me where this happened.
Exactly right. So this is interesting. So as we were chatting, I grew up
Hmm.
in South India, so closer to where you are. So
Yeah,
the tradition of that time was you either went the medical stream or the engineering
yeah,
stream. So I took the engineering stream. So and after that, I did the MBA because at engineering I felt like there is not a lot of creativity, my style of creativity. So I was looking for myself, and the family has strong business roots. So I was somehow drawn to the business side of things. So
hmm,
I I wanted an MBA, so I did my MBA, and it was great. So at the second year, when I was looking at specializations on looking at what I want to do, one of Jan's books or notes attracted me towards ERP.
hmm,
So yeah, and that's when I was going, okay, that blends technology and the business together. So which I really love. So ERP is an opportunity to have a meaningful change in the business, and it's a vehicle for change,
yeah,
which I really love. And I'm a big believer in making the world a better place. So though it's very very interesting to say that I genuinely believe in many cases if we do ERP right, our world gets better. So I
wow,
got into
yeah.
ERP. Yeah.
That's incredible. And
Yeah.
for those that are just joining us, haven't joined us before, my name is AV. I'm the founder and CEO at Avero Advisors, and we are an independent ERP and modernization consulting firm in the U.S. We work across the U.S. with government agencies of all kinds, and we are live every Wednesday. And we also publish podcasts and newsletters and blogs. So please check us out on all of our channels. And there's a lot of great content for everyone. Whether you are in the ERP hunt or not, it's a great educational tool. Um, and in the audience, thanks for joining us, Jake from Greenville, South Carolina. He's actually on our team, one of our project managers. And feel free to ask questions in the chat again, and we'll follow up throughout the live stream. So Judith, one of the things that really caught my attention in your work is this concept of the conscious pause, mindful pause. Explain that to us a little bit.
So, conscious pause, mindful pause, stage zero, as many people call it. Originally, when we coined the term, it was last year, and three of us kind of came up with it together. My version of this is it is the conscious pause. So, what it is a pause before you start a transformation program or
Hmm.
choosing to pause at different stages in a transformation program. So, the reason this is important, in my opinion, is that in ancient trading cultures, before you embark on any journey, as you would know, the family comes together to pause and assess what is needed and going ahead. So, in the modern day terms, it could be a simple thing on where where you would like to be. So
Hmm.
every time a program starts, ABS, you and I know when the client is ready, everybody goes just bang on.
Yeah.
So everyone's good at running. So this conscious pause is in a position to help reassess and then center ourselves as we move on. So in addition to thinking about ticking the boxes, this helps us understand which boxes to tick.
So how do you actually do this in practice, right? Because you in program project management, organizational change management is huge. You're doing these 3 to 5 year large engagements for ERP replacements, and there's a practice of weaving in change management throughout the project. How does conscious pause, stage zero, mindful pause, how does that play into this? Like, how do you practically do this?
Mhm. So, in my opinion, you can do it in many ways. So, again, for the audience, the clarity of the audience, this is different to the change management
Hmm.
or training or any of the other things that we do in a program. So, this is a conscious effort to pause and assess the five things. So, you do it at the start. So, definitely, we would recommend you definitely do it at the start. So, and look for lessons from the past, which may have answers for the future. So,
Hmm.
this is an active investment from the sponsors and everyone involved in the program to go and look for people who have walked the path before. Even though a lot of programs say we are pioneer programs, there is nothing new under the sun. So, there is always something or some elements of some programs that would be useful. So, walk the path before. And most importantly, know your organization and know what you stand for. So, in many of the organizations that I've been involved or many transformations, it happens, mostly once a decade. So, for many people, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for that
Yeah.
flavor. So, clearly understand your values and where you stand for, and know the industry and those who you are serving. Sometimes this is a very good eye opener because you open up to things like, okay, those are my real stakeholders as life has changed. So
Hmm.
I need to be serving them in addition to this, or like I need to be serving them more, or the industry has changed. We need a better thing, better way of serving this group of people and stuff, and see how those who are involved, who needs to be involved, and those who are impacted. So it's a very easy thing to do a business impact assessment, but
Yeah.
it's worth doing it upfront with the right effort to get those who need to be involved and impacted. This speaks volumes. And the last one that I firmly believe is give and receive, which is the fundamentals of life. So understand what the program's giving and what the program's receiving, and also at a wider level, there is always a give and take
Hmm.
on what it is, and that is gold.
And this is all of this is gold, Judith, because you're tying in like almost a practice of meditation and into something as fraught with risk and irritating to most people, an ERP implementation, right? It's taking a pause to observe, which is the basic fundamental of a meditative practice. Just
Absolutely.
watch and don't get involved. Don't engage with your feelings and see what's going on around you, right? And so you do that at the beginning of kicking off a project, almost pre-kickoff, and then
Pre-kickoff, much before kickoff.
yeah,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
do it at regular intervals within the
yeah.
project because there your risk register grows and your change management is not going well and people are upset and leaving the team. It's a good time to take a mindful pause and not think of yourself as the player in the project, but just observe from a greater
Absolutely.
height. So this is extremely fascinating. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, and I commend you for like actually putting this in practice. So we touched on this a little bit, but how
Mhm.
often should do you think that the team should take a mindful pause while you're in the
So,
ERP process? And in audience, you guys, please tell us what you think. How often a mindful pause should take place in a large project? Go ahead, Judith.
So, in my opinion, we'll wait for the feedback from the
Yeah,
audience. More the better.
yeah.
So this is about creating the space to know. So this is a concept that I have learned from one of my mentors, Bernie Kelly, who's a great thought leader in this space as well, and he does it from a strategic point for a lot of organizations and industry. So we talk about conundrums and many other things. As we explore that, but the important thing is conscious pause doesn't necessarily happen. So this is about creating the space to have the conscious pause. So
Right.
it can so more the better. So definitely at the start, we would recommend that you do it,
Mhm.
find time to do it. Though there are deadlines and all the other things that are wondering, you take whatever time that is needed to do it. And then again, at least every 3 months. So that's again very very rough guide, and some programs would definitely need more. So there is a question from the audience on how long it would
Yeah.
take, and it's definitely not an infinite pause. So and conscious pause doesn't have to involve a whole group of everyone in the program to just put it on hold and work through
Hmm.
that. So it has to be very selective on who needs to be involved and how you approach it. Maybe at the start it'll have sponsors and very seniors to set the stage right, and at different stages you'll have different groups involving, and then we can collect information
Yeah.
or see what intel comes out of it.
Hmm.
So
And it's
that's a
not.
wonderful question. Yeah.
It is. Thanks, Clay. And it's not necessarily a pause where you're stopping activity, right? The data conversions can go on and
Okay.
configurations can go on. It's to me, it seems like it's the sponsorship team, it's the people that are making decisions that typically end up having friction within departments.
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
those are the people that need to step away for, I don't know, half a day, 2 hours,
Yeah.
with a guided session, right? They can't
Yeah,
do
with a
the
guided session. Yeah.
guided session that you have
Yeah.
a sort of a coach or a guru walking you through this.
Yeah.
Um, no, excellent question. Thanks, Clay. And Kyler, our friend Kyler says, is that pause possible in government or public sector environments? I assume the pressure is on from constituents is focused on actual results, no matter the quality.
Yeah,
Another
that's a very good take on it, right? So what we are finding is a lot of programs sometimes we are not providing the outcome that is needed. So the
Mhm.
answer could be in this. Who knows, right? So it doesn't have to be a very long thing, as we discussed. So government, public sector, or probably anyone who is into transformation would benefit out of this. Yeah.
Yeah, and government specifically,
Mm.
it's very possible, if not more so than in the
Mm.
industry in general, because things do move slower by design. It is the government, right? We trust them with our money, so they should be as careful as they can be. So things are slower. The pressure is not necessarily on from constituents, because they come into the picture at the very end of the project, if there is some customer facing products that they're implementing. But really, it's internal. They haven't done it in a long time, and like Judith said, this is a once in a lifetime project if you do it right, or it's a once a year project if you don't do it right.
Oh yeah.
So it's very possible, and we do it in different formats, right? We may call it something else, but there's always pauses that are possible in any project. um, Judith, can you share some real life examples of how you've done wellness
Yeah.
pauses?
Absolutely. And this is with one of the industry colleagues that we both know about. For me and Wayne Holton, this program is close to our heart.
Hmm.
So with this program, we were looking at providing as part of the program, one of the things was to provide a reporting solution. So there's a very interesting organization with more than 200 plus reports processed every week and
Oh,
sent to one specific group for the board to make decision making and all that. So it's good to say we need all the information for decision making. And what we realized during this conscious pause phase is One of the reasons all these reports are needed is because they're trying to work out what happened in the past. So, and the other one is they needed we did another exercise which was able to point out the 5 parameters that are so important for decision making. So what they were looking for basically was a dashboard or a trend analysis kind of thing, which gives people what they wanted.
Hmm.
That is what's going on. And for the decision makers, it's the 5 things that was which could be captured in multiple dashboards that gave the decision. So yes, it saved a lot of time, a lot of money, and a whole bunch of other things as well. But it's the thought process of shifting. You need so many things for a decision making to, yes, we are looking at this decision making, and if and it's a completely different thing of, if there is a problem, let's go and address it, to a completely reactive of, you know having all the data absolutely needed for different purposes and stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a conscious pause is an opportunity for shift in thinking and lifting everything to a higher trajectory where it can. And I've seen programs. In one of the programs, they realized that the community they thought they were serving, or basically their stakeholder group or the group they need to serve, are not necessarily the community.
Right.
So they are necessarily serving the stakeholders of their stakeholders. But this was
Hmm.
again a utility. They thought they're serving another utility, but basically,
Yeah.
no, you're serving the users of that utility.
Right.
So providing users the visibility of your outages or whatever else improves the quality of life for you,
Hmm.
for definitely good stakeholder engagement and other things, and the life for the other utility who, with whom you're
Hmm.
transacting with. So these are, opportunities of gold that come out of this conscious pauses. And do we have all the information up front? Sometimes we might, programs might, but as the programs grow, or I would call it, as we start getting into the details of it, it could be the design, or it could be even during a build or whatever phase that you're in,
Hmm.
we still discover information. So what are we going to do with that information? That is what is more important. And in my opinion, the question from Jake is, what kind of language should a project program manager use to do it? So this is a very good opportunity, right? So reporting is a very powerful tool, as we all know,
Yeah.
as those who have done programs, and program managers or project managers can call for this at any point in time. So there is what do you call, no substitute to the intuition of a project or program manager. If they know something, they know something. So it's not what the report says. When the program manager says there is an opportunity there, or a project manager says we need to tap into this more, just believe in it. There is gold in there. So, or there is more than gold in there. So tap into
A-
that.
and
Yeah.
that's such a good point, Judith, because
Yeah.
you can, who makes a good project program manager, right? Is it someone that can maintain a checklist and do as told, or you know if you're sitting around waiting for someone else to tell you what the important things are, there's so many unknowns, and they all
Yeah.
come back to us dealing with people as consultants, project managers, program managers. Again, 90% of this is not a technical project. 90% of this is a people project. So intuition plays such a big role in identifying those spaces where you need a conscious pause, identifying that language that comes from within. Like, you have to learn how to trust your instinct and gut a lot as a good program manager, and then you can, the language provides itself, but it also comes with some experience and setbacks and failures.
Absolutely.
A great question, Jake. Thank you. We have a comment from Lexi. The more the better. If you want the project to be done right in the first place, to take extra time than rush through it and result in a failed implementation. Amen. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Um, Judith, my next, like, pondering is, how do so first of all, who does this, right? Is it program managers? Is it the software vendor? Is it everybody? And how do you coordinate this? Because if the client is doing this right, they have
Mm.
the vendor, they have a program manager, project management team, sort of bringing it all together. So whose responsibility is this, one? And two, because the vendor is incentivized to set the thing up and leave, how do you get them to take a conscious pause and get involved in this? Because their incentives are not aligned with, more often than not,
Exactly.
with the clients.
Yeah, you touched on a very good thing, right? So, a lot of people in the industry talk about it. So, Kyler, Scott,
Yeah.
um, Wayne, everyone talks about this. So, for an organization, no matter who is involved or who you have outsourced it to, the risk is the organization's.
Hmm.
So it's more like a person getting into a surgery or preparing for a surgery. So who needs to prepare? Yes, definitely the person. In this case, the organization. So the first stage of conscious pause, in my opinion, I would say get the people in the organization involved. This is even before the vendor is in play or any there is even a business case in some cases. So
Hmm.
whenever as early as possible, have this period and understand what it is that you're going to do, and this will give you the size and scale of everything. So things like knowing the organization and what you stand for, things like that help you pick the right vendor or the partner who is
Hmm.
totally aligned to your values. And if someone's not into this conscious pause or any of the other things that you may want to do as a program, maybe that partner is not aligned to your values. So that's just one of the takes on it. And also knowing the needs of who is involved and who would be impacted.
Yeah.
This would help understand what type of change management that is needed. So, and one of the programs that I had worked in, we introduced a very different type of change management. That is because we were able to get the data or get the information through the conscious pause and understand what type of change management that would be needed. So, again, the information that comes out of it and the intuition and the ability to connect with other stakeholders in the program
Hmm.
is gold. So that is the real opportunity that we are looking for. And again, during the life cycle of the program, have as many as needed, and again, have it targeted with the focus group or with multiple people needed. And in any program, this is a common mistake that happens across the world, but the best thing, a good program is normally owned and run by the organization. You call the shots, not the vendor, not
Absolutely.
anyone else involved. It's your baby.
Yeah.
So babysitters may
Take
have
care
an
of it.
opinion, but it's your baby. Yeah.
Right. Uh,
Mm.
so Kyler's asking questions. Great.
Yes.
Uh, Sounds great. What about the current climate in the industry of vendors pressuring cloud migration? Example at the S4 HANA issue, right?
2027. Yeah. So
And
is it 2020? Yeah.
yeah, for those who don't know what the issue is, as it clients are being, I don't want to say use the word forced, but their current versions of software are being sunset, and we're about to release a series of videos on what that means and how to deal with that. But how do you do conscious pauses, and how do you think about the current climate in the industry with pressure to move to the cloud, which as we know now, 10 years ago cloud was the answer to everything, software as a service. We've now found that there are significant downsides for organizations that it doesn't work for. So how do you see this, and how do you help our clients deal with this?
So this is a good opportunity, right? In
Yeah.
my opinion. So be it 2027 or 2030, who cares? So this is a disruption, and every
Yeah.
disruption comes with its own set of opportunities. So for me, I believe this is an opportunity for many organizations to undertake the conscious pause and have those five things answered for, and
Mhm.
still understand what's the pathway forward. If the pathway forward for them, for that organization, and in this case, it's not influenced by any other sources or including the vendors, is if the pathway for that organization is to go on that specific cloud journey, absolutely, that's great. But if the organization comes up with alternate paths, they need, it equips them to understand why they came up with that alternate path and then work out the way forward. So any disruption, it's an opportunity for more innovation. So
Yeah.
this is the gift that comes out of it.
It, not every organization is the same, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Regardless of
definitely.
industry, even in government, no two clients are they're similar, but they're not the same. What, in your experience, are some signs early on
Mhm.
that point you to the fact that this organization might need some more mindful pausing,
Mindfulness.
a
Yeah.
little more attention on that front?
Mhm. That's a very good question, right? So all of us need it at some stage, at different points, at different stages. And some organizations, and most of us can feel it again, most program directors who are listening to this would say, you walk into a situation and you would straight away know what's going to happen. So it's kind
Yeah.
of one of the radars in our brain that just goes on. So again, it comes with experience, battle scars, and so many things. So every organization, in my opinion, is existing for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, they are looking at their best to serve their stakeholders and in the most elegant possible way, be it be it be it the immediate stakeholders or those they're serving in the organization. Everybody wants to do the right thing. So in some places, when we step into the environment, there would be, in everywhere there is an opportunity for more alignment. In some places, as you can see, there is opportunity for a lot more alignment, and this is a good opportunity to go, okay, how about we undertake this exercise? And this is a this is a conscious thing as well. So there could be every signs, and we may choose to ignore it. But again, the writing is always on the wall if
Mm-hmm.
we want to read it. And when you see, you see. So
Yeah.
that is the that is one
And,
of the ideas. Yeah.
and so again, back to intuition, back to
Mm.
experience, back to battle scars, um, back to not running projects by checklist, because
Oh, yeah.
there is no list of signs to see. I mean, we could sit here and come
Exactly.
up with them, but it'll take us years to exhaust every sign that you see that this team might need more attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And same with, I normally compare it with health or anything, right? So if
Hmm.
something needs attention, even
Yeah.
before anything happens. So watch out for those signs. And same with the programs or projects. So I was talking to a program rescue expert yesterday, and I'm looking forward to having that in the Butterfly Effect podcast. So he has done many, many rescues, and one of the things that he was telling us in that was, do not underestimate the power of intuition. So when you feel something needs to be done, pause and make sure it is done. And that is our jobs as program directors or program managers or
Hmm.
project managers. So it is like we have every right to do that, though it may not be the most elegant thing or the most political thing to do.
Yeah.
In the view of the greater good, trust
Hmm.
your intuition, follow your path.
Which is great life advice, right? This isn't just ERP advice. Um, and so practically though, right? You're in the middle of an ERP implementation. This is month 8 of 36, and people have their frayed ends and their,
Latest.
yeah, feathers ruffled. And how does this work practically? Like, do you gather people in a conference room and go through like a breathing exercise and uh,
So I was discussing the best way to approach this with some of my industry colleagues who I
mhm,
closely collaborate and work with. So one of the things that we see this one working is we either do it as an online session or an in person. So in person, both of them have its own flavor. So end of the day, it's the team that really matters.
yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether we do a whether we do it online or with the or in person. So what is their kind of thing, and we work with that. So I would recommend this to be facilitated by multiple people throughout, because it has a lot of soft aspects to it as well as some different aspects to it. So it is one of the it is one of the best things that we would recommend.
Yeah.
And again, start with everything that we know that opens up our mind, not necessarily one part of the mind, which is the data channel, to open up the other part of the mind, which is the positive quotient channel or PQ channel, as positive psychologists call it. Try and do what it is to open that up and let the mirror neurons do its magic. So they
Hmm.
are very powerful and they are available with us. Humans have communicated without words for centuries. And why are we not tapping into an inherent ability in us and not communicating? And this is, again, many people do it many different ways and use the technique that is right for the group. And again, make sure there are right people in the group so there is right conversations. And we all know the group dynamics, and there is a lot of science to it. So make sure the right people are involved in the first place. So,
Absolutely. And
Paul,
Kyler
as a
suggests your podcast, The Butterfly
oh,
Effect.
thank you.
So if you haven't checked it out, please do. Some great stuff by Judith. Um,
It'll get released sometime in middle of June.
okay.
So I'll follow my
Excellent.
LinkedIn and I will do an
Yeah.
update here.
Thank you. Paul Byrne, all the way from Europe, is saying this is fantastic, but do you really think organizations really consider mindful pauses, or do they just put their foot on the pedal and go, go, go?
Paul, you and I know the answer, so we can be a Titanic again. Programs they can. So that's on the lighter side. But again,
Yeah.
this is one thing as thought leaders. I think we need to change this in the industry.
Hmm.
So it's too big an opportunity. Any transformation is too big an opportunity to not go well. So
Yeah.
let's do what we can to keep it in the right path.
Well, and also as consultants, program directors, it's our job to help our clients strike the balance, right? Because they don't know. They don't know
Yeah,
what they don't know. They haven't done this before. They've done this 20 years ago. So the risk of go, go, go without a pause, call it mindful or not, right? The concept is the same. Is
conscious. Yes,
are we still on the right track? Are we still in the right direction? Especially on projects that are failing, right? You and I, our teams get brought into projects that have been going on for 5, 6 years and no one knows when it'll end. There is no plan. It's just the vendor saying, well, it's not working. And the client saying, yeah, you're right. It's not working. Let's keep working at it.
yeah,
So in that situation, it's almost like you need to disrupt business, and it's and in those cases, it's not so much a mindful pause. It's like you're
yeah,
gonna hit the iceberg on purpose to stop the train and assess. Um, so that happens, right, when you don't pay attention to where you are, why you're on this journey, and uh, what's the end game. Because you can lose the track of that if you're not doing this program management thing mindfully.
absolutely. And that's a very good point. So doing the same thing repeatedly doesn't give us the same results. Yeah.
Correct. Great discussion in the chat boxes, and let's see what we have here. Um, Someone on my team's asking, how can we effectively balance the need for occasional pauses with the overarching objective of improving infrastructure and services? What key factors should we consider to determine when a pause is beneficial or when it might stop progress?
So this is again a very good thing, right? So the answer lies in that questions,
Yeah.
and it is a look in the rearview mirror. So you don't need an external person in many cases. So all these groups and the conscious pause phases, mostly the answer lies within that group.
Hmm.
So the facilitator's job is to help derive those answers and help help
Yeah.
everyone to identify that. So the answer is in those questions, and
Yeah.
for every organization, every circumstance, it's different. So
What Yeah, and that leads me to my next question, right? Is
Mhm.
as project program managers, um, I mean, we chose this life, but also uh, it's not once in a lifetime for us. We do this every day.
Oh,
On the client's end, this is a shock. They can't wait till this process is over so they can get on with their lives. So
mhm,
there's a lot of stress involved, right? And there's many different people identify with stress differently. They define stress differently. They respond to stress differently.
mhm.
What are some of your techniques for managing stress within your teams, and more importantly on the client side? Because if unmanaged, it's going to cause
Unmanaged
ruffle
is the,
feathers.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, as you rightly say, we do it for a living. We know
Mhm.
what we are signing up for.
Yeah.
So, we do know what it's like to do endless cutovers every weekend
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Uh, and also challenges that come with it. So, people like us are a special breed. So, Paul and I often say, Paul, I'm sure you'd agree with me when I say that special breeds get into the life of projects, and then some of us, uh, you know, some of us take on additional roles as well. So
Hmm.
for a client, it's different. So the way I look at it, it's like Paul Kotzer and I were talking about it: a surgeon versus a patient. So a surgeon does it for a living, sees many patients, and goes through that. One, they've made the technique really well, so they're experienced. You trust them with your life. And the second one is for a patient, it's a once a lifetime thing, and hopefully most surgeries are. But there is also a process that the patient needs to go through, so which is preparing for the surgery and whatever is the recovery period, and depends on the surgery, depending on the person, and depending on so many parameters. Recovery is hard, surgery
Yeah.
is hard, recovery is hard, transformations are hard. So nothing more than there is nothing, no substitute to not setting up the expectations. So when a
Hmm.
client is signing up for it, it is not an easy thing. No matter what any vendor says, transformation is not easy. It is like rebirth. It comes with its pain, it comes with its growth, it comes with its challenges. Yes, at the end, you may have something very beautiful, but you have to work for it.
Yeah.
Everyone involved would work for it, especially you as the organization who is choosing to put the hand in heart and say, yes, I'm ready for transformation. So, and then other people can help you. And again, there is also concepts on one of the client conversation I had some time back. This week was they're implementing a system which is taking longer and everyone's frustrated, and the sponsor goes, what can I do to take the pain away? It was a very genuine question on, can we add resources and make this shorter? I
Hmm.
could see the pain in that person's eyes, but the thing is, it is a growth pain. So can you have a baby in about a month, and do you actually want that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a kind of a very tricky thing.
Hmm.
Pain, transformation comes with its own pain. Set up the expectations right, and also ensure everyone is there with them, with the organization on its journey. For the organization, surround yourself with the right advisors who have got your interest in mind. So as you go through this pain, they are guiding you through the process. So let's say if someone's embarking on a surgery, they normally have a recovery team with them, which would have a team of physiotherapists and multiple health professionals
Hmm.
who would help that person. And transformation is no different. Have that team with you, people who have got your interest, who have got your back, and help them on that journey. So, a case study where we have seen this happen really well in the recent years, there are two. So, one organization was a complete greenfield implementation, and they put in a new technology and they went for the latest and greatest, and it was a conscious choice for them. And for them, yes, there was a lot of challenge as they got onto this, but the important thing is they were prepared for it. So
Hmm.
this was if you want to use the surgery term, it's one of the hardest surgeries anyone can undertake. But the person, in this case, the organization, was prepared for it. So that was good. As a result, the recovery was faster. And the other one was a blue field.
Take your time. I think we lost Judith, but temporarily, hopefully. I'll give you an example. Um, as we're waiting. Oh, she's back. You okay?
I'm back. Yeah,
Yeah.
just had some water. Sorry.
No worries. No worries. Keep going.
So, so yeah, the other one was a blue field where it was a informed longer term transformation, and the journey that goes on goes on at different stages. Yes,
Hmm.
they had very specific transformations dropping at specific stages, but then they were prepared for it. So this is like running, multiple sprints together. So it's like you get the team ready and do it. So these are the ways they delivered it. In the end, the green field, yes, they got the benefit at the end, but the blue field one had incremental benefit that they were able to demonstrate and then push the savings back into the program. So
So I wanna ask the audience a question because we've got some real good discussion going, especially the project managers, program managers in here in the audience right now. What has been the most what's been the an example of where leadership at your client organizations have had to step in to provide this mindful pause, because as consultants, as PMs, we drive the project plan, we work the plan, we want to make sure the vendors are in check, and leadership at the client side plays a really good important. So yeah, just pop in there with your answers on some examples of when that has happened, when the leadership has taken it upon themselves to create a pause at great risks to their organization, right? Whether it be political or financial. So would love to see some comments on that. Um, and meanwhile, Judith, what again? Let's talk about leadership again. We talk about this a lot internally, right? Leadership is different from management, and it takes both things to um, make a project successful. Project like this very successful. So, what role? We've talked about management a little bit.
mm.
How does leadership differ according to you, and how do you think that plays an important role uh, as you're implementing a large ERP system, especially in context of mindfulness?
So I'll share what one of my mentors have shared. Management is taught while leadership is learned. So this has stayed with me for a long time.
Yeah.
So leadership in us, like as we know, we all become leaders in different things at different times, and it comes with its own set of learnings. So this is about embracing the learnings and working on it. And leadership, in my opinion, comes up with its own set of vulnerabilities as well. The person is embracing the vulnerability, working with the vulnerability, and is willing to make a stand to be a leader. A leader normally has the interest of the team and the organization or the bigger picture in mind while decision making. Yes, there is personal flavors and everything else goes with it, and the styles are different and everything. Overall, a leader is someone who has the bigger picture in mind while making decisions. And sometimes decisions are made with very little time. So
Or information.
ability to roll with it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So good leaders are definitely made. It's these, and we make them. And if we want to make better world, we need to invest in creating better leaders.
Absolutely. So what advice in the audience, I'd love to hear your answers on this too. What advice would you give someone or a team that's just starting an ERP implementation journey? That they haven't done it before, this team is new, they've had this 30-year-old ERP, and they're
Yeah.
saying we need change. What do you recommend they do?
In my opinion, first thing to do is to be very open with themselves. Like if you haven't done it before, what's the first thing you do in life? Get advice. Surround yourselves with advisors, multiple advisors who have your interest in mind, and
Hmm.
they can help you navigate what you need to do. There are many things that transformation may look like it starts one day, but it's not. In realistic terms, we all know, those who have worked in transformations, it takes ages before the day of kickoff or day of whatever. So there is a
Hmm.
lot of preparatory activities, be it in mind or in spirit or physical preparation like data cleansing, there is a lot of activities that needs to happen.
And there's a I think there's a growing movement or thought in the vendor community that us consultants spend too much time on those things, the preparation. And now we're talking about mindful pauses. I know some of my vendor friends are going to be like, here he goes again with slowing our process down, right? Especially in governments where it takes an RFP and takes months to put a good one together. We've heard from top vendors saying, you guys need to speed this up. Why are you taking so long to take this to market? So you need to combat that with reality and find common ground, right? What are your thoughts on that? On one hand, yes, we can spin our wheels on redefining processes and requirements, and but where's that fine line? Because you have to be really prepared to go forward. And on the client's behalf, we advocate for that slowness, because it that doesn't always mean it's you're doing it absolutely correctly, but at least you have the time to catch your mistakes. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So most of the time when we get involved in programs, as we all know, everyone believes they're against a clock or a deadline
Mhm.
or something or the other. The
Yeah.
thing that we are constantly combating is the battle of time. So either
Mhm.
it's made up or it's someone's for some reason, for political made up deadline or whatever that is. It's a real constraint that we balance, and it's the narrow line that we walk.
Yeah.
So what we as leaders in the program management space can do is, yes, do the basics right, come up with a realistic plan, budgets, all the stuff that we do as PMs or program directors, whatever it is, do what we need to do. And also introduce the concept to the organization, because the conscious pause concept is not well known to the organizations just because they don't know the value of it. And sometimes most organizations that we deal with, let's face it, are bricks and mortar businesses. If they want a product, they order it and it's there, and the processes are established. So they have the specifications and they have everything ready, and they apply the same mindset to transformation programs, and that's when things go very, very challenging for everyone involved, because it is because of the mindset. So educate them that the transformation is different. It is not ordering a product that is going to be there at a specific time. It is a journey.
Yeah.
So, and the power is in the journey. If the journey is not enjoyable, there is more indicators that the end result hasn't achieved what the transformation should have achieved. So make sure the journey is enjoyable. Yes, the procurement, there is a deadline and there is multiple constraints that we need to work with, but make
Mhm.
sure we are working with the right constraints. And sometimes conscious pause gives you the ability to navigate or negotiate the constraints in a completely different way.
And
So it's
another,
totally up to you.
yeah, and it's such a great point you just made there, navigate or negotiate, right? And as a client, as the organization buying the thing, you're never at the mercy of the consultant or the vendor, because we see a lot, right? The vendor will come in and say, you are going to go live on in 6 months. Okay, tell me how. And then they don't have a project plan or anything to back that up. So navigate or negotiate is a great concept to keep in mind, because you are in charge of your own baby, not someone else. um, Judith, where can people find you and your work? I know you said Butterfly Effect, the podcast is coming out mid-June. I'm excited for you. That is such a great step for you to take. But where do people find your work? Where do they find you? How do they connect? And give us some tips on how the audience can network with each other more effectively.
Absolutely. And I'm open in LinkedIn. So, yeah, send me a connection request and we can have a chat. And I'm also working on establishing a forum so where thought leaders like us can constantly exchange ideas. So, there is a very big gap in the industry where all of us can fill in the gap and and make a true difference to our clients and each other's in our lives. So, yeah, to answer your question, LinkedIn, yeah, that's the best way to get me. And watch out for the podcast and the forums coming up.
Excellent. And we Avero have created a checklist. If you look on the screen, uh, click on the scan the QR code, and you'll find the executives checklist to ERP implementation. I think we're going to add mindful pauses to that checklist, um, right? Because it's such an important concept. But download that list to see where you stand, to see where you need to go as you get on this ERP journey. Um, the other thing, let's see if we have any questions. Um, yeah, Paul Byrne wants to go to an island. No, that's Clay that wants to. Here's a great comment. Let's rent out a private island for a week to the project budget template. Okay, Clay, good
Oh,
luck
that's a
selling
great
that.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
I
great
love that
idea.
idea, but I want to see you sell
Mm.
it to our clients. Um, Judith, thank you so much for joining us today. I think you've been a fantastic guest. I can't wait to see what you do next, and hopefully we can collaborate in the future, not just on live streams, but actual work where we'd love to bring some of these concepts to our clients. Um, so thank you again for joining us. I hope to see you and talk to you again soon. We will be attending the GFOA conference in Orlando in a few days. We're super excited. Avero will be there in full force, so come see us at booth 632. We have some great giveaways. We have some great events that we are hosting, and more importantly, we're there to talk through your ERP implementations. If it's going well, not going well, if it's something you're thinking of doing imminently, we're absolutely there to give you all of our free advice. So come see us there. Also, we are live on Wednesday mornings, Eastern time in the US, and all of our content is available on our website, which we have popped up into the chat box here and in our YouTube channel. So let's stay engaged. Let's stay excited about this very important work we're doing, and look forward to seeing you next time. Judith, thank you again. Any parting comments, words of wisdom, more words of wisdom?
Thank you very much again for having me. Let's follow our heart, have a conscious pause, and deliver great outcome for our clients. That's great.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you so much, Judith.
Thank you.